My goodness, guys. Once again, I do apologize for the delay in episodes between 37 and now episode 38. It has been fucking crazy around here. A lot of shit that I can't wait to fucking share with you guys, but I can't just yet. But besides the fact, we are fucking back, guys. The 7 on 7 podcast is here again. Episode 38 today with Dylan Betts.
Hey.
And we got to give a shout out to fucking Sammy Swanson, the dot connector who made this happen, who put us in connection. Because you're in town from Denver.
Yep, correct. I'm in town from Denver.
You're in town from Denver. So Dylan Betts. So for people who don't know you, kind of give like a little overview of who you are, where you grew up, like what you do, and then we'll really start to dive into some shit.
Yeah, 100%. So my name's Dylan. On socials, I go by Dylan the Texan. I spent like kind of back and forth between SoCal here in like OC and then in Dallas, Texas. Like,
Dope.
Parents split up.
Gotcha.
And I was going to I basically late elementary and on. I was in Dallas, but then my younger years I grew up here. So that's how I met Sam. Was like when he was like a young ass kid or whatever, fucking shredding on the snowboard and the skateboard and all that.
So were you born in Texas or were you born here?
I was born in New Mexico.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah,
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so kind of random, but yeah, I spent like the first couple, whatever, I was like 3, and then we moved to SoCal, went to elementary there, and then parents split up, and then like, I think it was like 5th grade on, I was like out in Dallas, but I'd be out here like probably once a month visiting my dad and everything. So
Sweet. So your dad's out here and your mom's in Texas? Or mom's in New Mexico?
Mom's in Texas.
Gotcha.
Yeah, everyone got the fuck out of New Mexico. Down to Albuquerque like a month ago or whatever to see this girl I was dating or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I'm glad they got me out of there because it's a little depressing out there.
It's a little interesting out there. I've never been to New Mexico. That's one state that I can say I've never been to. I've never been to New Mexico, never been down there. All I know is the Lobos.
Yeah.
That's all I know is the Lobos.
I was in the home of the Lobos, but it was still I mean, like the bars and stuff were cool. Like it wasn't like awful to go out there, but it was definitely like way lower pace than kind of what I'm used to.
Totally.
Like being like Dallas, Denver,
for sure,
out here and everything.
Totally.
But it was a cool spot though, man.
Just faster paced life for sure, which makes sense because kind of this is the first time that we've met. I picked him up outside. We went to go get some fucking energy drinks or some waters and shit. So this is the first time that we've ever met, which is sick. But that's kind of like what you were saying briefly in the car is like you like to be around that environment where there's like creators, where it's faster paced, where there's people kind of like always on their shit. And I feel that heavy. Like I cannot be in an environment where it's like slow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, okay, I gotta fucking do this. What am I supposed to do? I gotta go do something. I gotta do this. Like, I have to have that stimulation, so I feel that like super fucking heavy.
Yeah, I'm pretty, controversy, but if ADD is real, I got it. I got that shit heavy, and I'm like, I need stimulation. I need stuff going on.
Totally.
And then, especially being like in this kind of like creative space, it's like being around other people who are like minded and people who are trying to like
do something.
Take this seriously because I'm like, dude, this is like the one chance like. Probably like in time where it's like, dude, you can go like do something that you're passionate about, and as long as you put a camera there and you make it good and entertaining for people, like, you can monetize that. You can make a living literally doing something that you love to do. But like a lot of people are just not, and I mean, I was kind of guilty of this for a while, but just not being like willing to fully put yourself out there and really like commit to it, because it's like you can kind of half-ass it and like get some results, but like if you're trying to be like huge, like you have to go all in. You have to really be like willing to commit.
For sure. Like I literally fucking say this is like whatever you go for, you just go all out. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is that you go for, whatever it is that you're into, go fucking all out. And I speak about that all the time, dude, on this show. Is like it's the greatest time to be alive for people like us with the opportunity where, like how you said, you could literally have a camera on you all the time and fucking film everything and anything and put it on the internet for free and have the opportunity to build something for yourself. You know what I mean? But
exactly,
you have to be willing to do that consistently, make shit videos, make fucking a bunch of trash content or whatever it is to like, you gotta have the bad days, get the good days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, exactly.
You have to. And I love that because I speak on that very, very, very often on this show.
Yeah, you ever go back to your like old videos, you watch it, and you're just like, oh god, like
Dude.
it's so cringe to watch.
Oh, it's so bad. Or like, oh my god, the lighting is so blown out. Or I'm like, the focal length is terrible. And like, and that's, you know, because I've had a lot of other creators on the show, like, fucking whether they're brand owners or videographers or whatever, and like, you always have the people who say, which I do believe is like, yo, just post your garbage, like post it all, which I totally do agree to that. Like, you do just have to post all of it, and then just understand like, yo, that's just like part of the process. Like, you're gonna get to make great content as long as you continue to make content. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You have to do it to improve. Like, you can't, like, if you're just always sitting on every video and like, oh, it's not good enough, then it's like, dude, because like I've had like, honestly, I would say most of the time the videos that I've done the greatest, like best performance, are like, dude, they're ones that like no effort, took like 5 minutes. I'll literally
That's
be like
always how it goes, dude.
there'd be a video I'll spend like 2 hours editing. I'm so proud of it, and I post it, and it's like, dude, it gets like 3,000 views. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
and I'll post some dumb shit that's like some clip that like just some random gym clip and like some stupid like caption, and it's like oh 4 million, and I'm like, oh my god, like
what am I doing here?
yeah, like what is this? But
No,
you gotta just keep fucking rolling through. You gotta keep testing, doing all that stuff, and
Testing.
my thing is I always just like want to improve on stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like you were saying, like lighting and stuff. It's like before, like I wasn't very conscious of that. Now it's like I'm like very aware of. I'm like, okay, like this needs to be like here, like how's the audio? Because like
Totally.
as you know, if you have bad audio, you could have like the coolest, greatest video or whatever. You even have a video that's like doesn't have good quality at all, but if the sound is good, people will enjoy it if it's good content.
Facts. That has to be because it's like, it's some level of engaging, whether it's like the audio or the visual, and then if you can have both, it's like, psh,
Yeah.
now you're talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're on our way now. That's some views. That's some, you know.
totally. So your fucking whole, you know, obviously, fucking, we just have connected. So I'm like super curious about your whole like Dylan Betts, Dylan the Texan thing, because it seems like you're pretty prevalent on social. It's something that you do very often, and you're kind of like, I would say, a creator for sure. But before I talk about that, I did see on your page, you're a veteran.
Yes. Yeah.
You're a veteran. Where did you serve? In Army, Navy?
Yeah. So pretty much for me, like high school wise, like, you know, I was a bit of a degen. I was kind of one of those people where it was like I could not really like try in school, really put any effort, and I could get like whatever, some B's and stuff, and like do good enough. And
Feel that.
I don't know. I was kind of like always trying to. I was more so thrill seeking, which kind of explains, you know, kind of future endeavors and everything like that. But like basically, yeah, like I didn't want to go to college. I was like, the way I thought about it with like the military and everything, and my stepfather also was like a pilot in the Air Force. I grew up kind of in that environment, and I was always kind of drawn to it anyway. Like I would be like, I was in like 6th grade, and like my teacher would be like calling my parents, being like, hey, like he's reading like this memoir of a Vietnam War soldier, and everyone else is reading like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And she was very concerned about that. But I mean, obviously, like my parents were like, well, he's like learning about like real history and like real things.
Shit that happened.
Yeah, and like you know, my family lineage, like I have a lot of like people who served like, you know, Vietnam, World War II, everything like that. So like it was always something that interested me. And the way I kind of saw it at the time, which may be a little bit immature, but I was like, you know, I'd much rather like go get paid to like work out and like shoot guns and blow shit up with my friends than like
For sure.
go sit in a college classroom after high school is kind of boring and very unstimulating. So yeah, basically I signed up when I was like I signed a contract when I was 17
Oh, wow.
with like my parents' permission and stuff. And then basically I graduated high school. I was 18 by then, but like graduated high school, and then like 3 weeks later I was off to like basic training. So it was like
quick.
Yeah, quick. Like I basically had a little graduation party, said my goodbyes, and then like after that I was on a bus to the airport to Atlanta, then to Fort Benning. I did like my Army infantry training there,
Sweet.
Airborne school, all of that.
Okay, so you were airborne?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, the Army has a good way of like making things that are really fun not fun anymore. Like jumping out of airplanes, like it's they, you know, it's just, and I mean I understand why they do it in hindsight, obviously, but it's like they have to make things so repetitive and so like drilled into you where it's like a reflex. So like when it actually happens, like
For sure.
you're not really like, you don't really think like when you're like sitting on an airplane getting ready to jump, it's like you're not even really like thinking about like, oh, I'm jumping out of the airplane. Mostly you're thinking, you're like, I have to pee so fucking bad. Get me off this airplane, please. Like,
You just become like just like conditioned to it almost.
yeah, you just drill it so many times that it becomes like muscle memory where, you know, and I think really the pee thing, I think that's the main driver, is that they just know that if they make you hold your pee long enough, you'll jump out of the airplane. No matter what, if there's no parachute or not, they're like, especially because you're in the parachute harness, and you usually have like, whatever, you have like a weapon case that's like under your arm, and then you have like a giant whatever like 80-pound rucksack like hanging off your legs, and the harness just squeezing your fucking bladder. So that's the secret, is like they're like, give them a lot of water and put them in the airplane and they'll jump out because they have to pee.
They have to pee so bad.
Exactly.
Damn.
But you don't, dude. You just, when it's happened, you've drilled it so many times. They have like little practice like mock of the airplane where you
Gotcha.
go through everything, and you every time before you jump, you're running through the whole thing. You practice landing, all of that. So by the time you're actually on the plane, it's like,
I've done this 500,000 times here.
Exactly. And so you just do it, and that's kind of like that's kind of why the repetitive and why it becomes boring, is they want you to be able to just, no matter what, not think about it, just do it.
Totally.
And then perform. So, and I mean, that kind of applies to a lot of things in life in a positive way as well.
Absolutely. And I was kind of like going to get to that, but MG, how long did you serve?
I did like just over 4 years. So I basically, I did one contract. I lucked out. I was like 19. I got sent to Italy for like 2.5 years.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, my degenerate ass, they unleashed me at Europe at 19, you know, being able to drink, all that stuff, travel. And I mean, obviously we were super busy over there, but we did have enough time to where, like, you know, dude, I've hit like 22 countries or whatever.
Wow.
Like, I got to do so much traveling, see so much of the world, which was like such a blessing.
For
and,
sure.
like,
Absolutely.
you know, now kind of like in like when I interact with most people, I'm like, damn, I've gotten to see so much of like different places, different like cultures, different experiences, different like, I guess just like levels of like poverty.
Yeah,
wealth,
I was gonna say.
that.
I feel like it gives you like a real good sense of like perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I would say even like just perspective on like, you know, for example, like in America, because obviously right now it's kind of a, you know, a rougher time, so to speak.
For sure.
Of kind of like just people like with their identity as an American, and like I got to like talk to a lot of people that would easily switch places, all of that, like, and people who, you know, really their whole like dream was to go to America. So I understand that for both sides of it, but I'm like, there's a lot of people, if you're an American and you're not like, you know, at least thankful that you didn't, you know, that you have at least that kind of like starting point. Like, there's a lot of people who will trade places with you easily.
For sure. And I think that's always my biggest thing, is like, just on that topic, you know what I mean? Is I get it, you know, the world isn't fair. People aren't always treated the same, or, you know, the realities are different for some people than others. But I think it's like boils down back to that point of, hey, let's take aside how you're feeling and look at the big picture and realize that you do have the opportunity to change it if you want to change it because of where you live. And you go to anywhere else, that really isn't so much of the reality, you know what I mean? And I think and I think that perspective is super huge. And then like how you were kind of tailing off that, is that perspective and that mindset and everything comes with you, I'm sure, especially when you know, left the military, was like, I have a pretty good foundation of discipline, of perspective again, of like realizing like kind of what matters, what really doesn't matter, realizing that, yo, I can just go fucking get it if I want to go get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the biggest blessings. Obviously I never served, but I feel like that would be a real positive after coming out, you know, because I have other buddies who are in the military, and, you know, I've heard a lot of times is when you come out, it's a real struggle to find your identity, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, this was my purpose. Now what is my purpose? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And for you, I'm just curious, how was that transition for you? Like, did you get out and was like, yo, I know exactly what I want to do. I'm fucking gonna go all in on this, or was there kind of a period of time of like, yo,
Not at all, not at all, dude. I mean, I would say that like in comparison to like what I've seen with other people, I think I had a pretty smooth transition.
Good.
Like back into civilian life. Like obviously, it does take some adjustments. I would say for me, realistically, it was probably about a year and a half of probably like kind of getting towards that point. I didn't want to be one of the like the veterans who just like is unable to adjust back into life, and that I kind of always tried to make that a point of like how I kind of went about things to understand it's like, yo, like this is a job that you did, you know, it was best of times, worst of times, but like that was just a part of your life. That was a chapter, a fucking awesome chapter that like, you know, most people don't get to experience, but like that's not everything in life. And like you just have to like, you know, just like when you're in the military, you kind of have a mission, a purpose. It's really just like putting yourself in that same frame, but applying it to whatever else you're doing. So like when I got out, dude, I immediately went into school because I was like, okay, like granted, like school is my favorite. We could go all in.
Oh my God,
on how I think like the school system's a huge scam. But
for
me,
sure, I feel the fucking same way.
Yeah.
I hated everything about school. I never went to college. I was like, I can't fucking do this, dude.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like for me, luckily it was like they pay you to go to school and they cover it. So like for me, it was like a good way to just transition as far as like keeping money coming in, everything like that. And I did get my degree in exercise science and I have like a minor in nutrition, but it was like, dude, I learned way more on YouTube watching fucking pro bodybuilders and you know,
totally
bro science people and like working with coaches who are super knowledgeable. I would say that like the YouTube, the coaches, all that stuff was probably like what I would have considered like that like university level education. But that the university education was probably more like the high school of it, where it was like
totally
very, very kind of service level. A lot of stuff that I would say as far as that, like the fitness space weren't the most important as far as like actually making it a job.
Yeah.
Because like at that point I'd already been a trainer and like a coach for like a couple years. And I was just, I went through the motions, you know, I played the game, but I was like, these people who are like, don't have any other experience going into this, but just this is like their baseline, probably aren't being set up for success the same way I was with just the experience of like working in the industry.
Totally. So that was like kind of your first direct route and like out was into fitness, into training. Cause I mean, when I scoped your page, I'm like, oh, he's a fucking gym guy for sure. I was like, he's a gym guy.
That was kind of like, I was always like, because I grew up playing sports and everything like that.
What sports did you play?
Dude, so I wrestled,
lacrosse,
football.
Same.
I did, I dabbled in some other sports, but I would say like the main sports that like I had some kind of like talent in were like probably lacrosse, wrestling, and then football until like a certain point. Because I grew up in Texas, dude. It's like football's hyper competitive, and like once I was like at a point where like I wasn't like starting in football anymore, I was like, all right, like I want to play a sport where like I'm gonna get play time
for sure
and be able to do that. So I kind of focused on those, but I've always loved just like
fitness.
Just fitness, and then like always like that team aspect of like working together with other people to solve a problem, whether it be in the military or in a sport
for
or
sure,
whatever it may be. But I've always enjoyed like that process of like kind of being able to get a group of people together with a common goal and then like crushing the shit out of it. Like,
Hell yeah.
Like I love like being able to see that happen live.
Totally. That's fucking sick. So do you train now? Are you a trainer now?
No, I mean, I'm at this point in my life, I'm more like, I'm kind of like that friend where I'm like, I'll give like people advice and stuff like that. And I'll post like stuff about like, stuff that I've learned and information like that. But I've kind of like tailored out or transitioned out of that because like I love fitness and stuff, but like when you're doing it like all the time for work and then you're also coaching and you're dealing with a lot of people and each little individual thing, it kind of made me lose my love for it a little bit. So that's why like, the gym thing will always be like kind of a part of my brand, a part of like what I do. But I've been trying to like kind of like broaden out of that as far as like being my only thing. Cause I do have like a lot of other stuff that I would say I bring to the table that is a little bit more just interesting for me. The fitness stuff has kind of gotten
monotonous.
For me. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like there's only so much you can really say about like eat more calories, you want to gain weight.
Yeah.
Eat less, you want to lose weight. Like
Stay away from processed foods.
Yeah,
Stay away. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I've been trying to like basically tailor my content to more like different niches and different stuff that I'm interested in, just because like, anyone who's a content creator out there knows it's like you have to like have some passion, some interest about the stuff you're making, or it's gonna be clear to the audience that like you're just going through the motions and that you don't really have like that same level of like love for what you're doing.
Totally. People can smell it through the phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As soon as they like look like, oh no, 100%. So, what are some of the other things that you do? Because I'm like ultra curious. Like I said, guys, this is like also me. I'm like, yo, so what is it the fuck that you do? What is it that you do? Like, what do you do right now?
Dude, there's a few things I do. So, obviously, I've been posting stuff on like social media, all of that. I do some coaching in a kind of a different sphere of things. Like I've been trying to help like basically help dudes with like dating and stuff like that, because that's like a field that I feel very passionate about, and I've been blessed enough to kind of like have a better understanding as far as kind of how those dynamics work, and I've been able to like help people in that way. And I do see,
like like confidence building, or like
kind of the whole thing, right? Because I went with my fitness stuff, I was getting a lot of guys reaching out to me being like whatever, because like
how do I look like you? How do I
stuff like that.
Totally.
And then when I was trying to, because kind of the whole reason I got into social media in the first place was like I was coaching and I was training people, and I was like, okay, like all these people who are getting like this big following are making a lot more money, and they're able to get more clients and have their voice heard by more people.
Totally.
And then I saw a lot of them, would have like, we're doing stuff like having like, like having like a hot chick in the workout with them, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I kind of started doing that strategy, which obviously works very well. Like if you have an attractive girl in a thumbnail or a video, it's like more people are going to click on it. It's just the way of life.
Yeah, it's just the way it works.
And so when I started doing that, that's kind of when I started getting hit up by guys who were like having struggles with like maybe like dating or confidence or relationship or anything like that. And then those people started reaching out to me, and I was like, okay, like this is like a whole different field than like I've been used to like coaching in. But I started like kind of taking on some of those guys to help them out, and like saw like really good results with that, because I think a lot of the way like society kind of, especially for men, I think a lot, like men are kind of ostracized a little bit like in society as far as that goes, like in recent times. So I wanted to figure out a way to like help those dudes out and like, make sure that they're like they had like their mission to kind of like get to where they wanted to be, which was kind of like being someone who was able to like, eventually like have a girlfriend, get married, have a family, all
provide, protect, be confident, for sure.
The whole shebang. And like,
which is super important, you know what I mean? I mean, and I will forever stand on this, like, being a man, you have to be a man, you know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. Like, that's just how I see it, and no one could ever convince me otherwise, you know what I mean? Like, if you are a man, that's your duty, it's an obligation. And I feel, like I try to explain it to my lady, and she doesn't fully understand it. And I'm like, hey, I've always said, like, if you want to go do your own thing, you want to fucking start a business, you want to go get your own bag, you want to be a boss bitch, absolutely go for it. I will be there to support you in any way or fashion. But it's still my job at the end of the day to make sure that everything is taken care of despite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's kind of like, I would say, like, the base standard as far as like you need to be able to do that. If for some reason, if she wants to do that, and that's a whole different like dynamic with your relationship, like that's totally cool. I just, my belief is that like as a dude, you should still be able to do that if that's not the option.
Yeah, like solo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, still have, and I think a lot of it comes to self-worth. You know what I mean? Like understanding your self-worth, your own self-value. Like, what are you good at? What are you not good at? What are the characteristic traits that you have? What is your, what are the things that you're trying to accomplish? And like, let's hone in on that, whether you're in a relationship or not in a relationship, so you can be a good man.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like everyone, I feel like, who's a fucking man wants to be a good man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's solo or with, because you can't be a good man to somebody if you're not a good man to yourself. You know what I mean? That line will never, it'll never work, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Dude, no, I totally agree. Like you know, and it's like kind of cliche, but it's like you have to love yourself before you can love someone else.
For sure.
And with a lot of men, I don't think that they love themselves, and
I agree.
I think that there's a lot of societal pressure to not love yourself as a man for the things that like are kind of, you know, both genetically kind of like in your, you know, in your system, as, you know, as you're created as a man. So I think that like reminding dudes that like it's okay to like it's okay to be a man, like it's okay to like to behave this way. Obviously, like I'm not talking about any kind of like, you know, weird like toxic weird shit like that, but I'm saying like as far as like being able to protect, provide, being able to, you know, have that powerful frame so that you can protect your lady, so you can provide for her,
for
things
sure,
like that. And you know, having like strong confidence, belief in yourself is gonna make you not only a better man to like your partner, but just to really anyone you interact with. And you know, I just think that it's lacking in a lot of people. You know, there's a lot of people that didn't even have like a dad growing up and never even got like an example of like how to do that. So long story short, I saw that as like a way that I could help, because I'm very passionate about like helping guys. I want, you know, that's why you know, fitness in the first place.
Yeah,
like,
no, I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I really just, I want to always make sure that like people are able to have the information to get to where they want to be. And so that's kind of like
love that
what I did there.
At least being like, hey, here's a blueprint, or here's like a guide, you know, kind of now it's up to you to really like apply it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can never force someone to do something, but it's like, hey, I can help guide you in a direction to help you with these things. But at the end of the day, it is up to you to either apply them, to not apply them, to make the change, to not make the change. And dude, to be honest, like check any episode, I've always said this, and I believe in this so heavily. And I have two parts to this because I'm curious on your point of view as a fitness guy. Number one, physical appearance plays a huge role in how you feel about yourself.
Yep.
Let's be fucking real. That's just what it is. What male, female, doesn't matter. How you feel and look about yourself is everything. You know what I mean? It is so crucial. Just to the output of your output of life. You know what I mean? Like if you feel good and you look good and you're healthy and you take a priority and you're disciplined about what you eat, how you take care of your body, that only transitions into every other aspect of your life. And I have forever said that and will forever say that, because I know, like you, I go to the gym 7 days a week. I've lived my life like this for longer than I can remember. And a lot of the shit that I've done or been able to do, or people that I meet, or opportunities that come about, is because, you know, someone might look at you physically, appearance-wise, and be like, oh, hey, that's a fit guy. Like, he's disciplined. He cares about the effort that he puts into himself. So there's probably a high likelihood that he's going to put that same effort into his business, how he interacts with people. And that plays a huge role in just, I think, dissolving societal pressure in a way. You know what I mean?
Dude, 1,000%. And I think that, like, to kind of like touch on what you said as far as like physical appearance, like I've had so many opportunities like presented to me in my life that like I can almost guarantee I would never have had if I didn't have like that, like the, you know, the fitness kind of background and like that appearance.
Absolutely.
Because like, you know, I've been in rooms with dudes who are just, you know, multi-millionaires, very wealthy people, very connected people. And generally speaking, you know, especially I was like, you know, whatever in my 20s, like talking to these dudes who are in their 40s and 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I had that fitness background, it gave me something to bring to the table that, you know, these guys can, you know, you can have all the money in the world, blah, blah, blah. But like everyone wants to look better. Everyone wants to feel better in their skin, and everyone wants to like be physically fit and have like that, have that kind of presence. And so like, you know, by having that, I was able to make connections with people that like I probably, you know, other than that, like business wise, I don't have anything to bring to the table that they don't already know.
Yeah, exactly.
But with the fitness thing, they're like, how do you, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you eating? Like how often do you train? All that stuff.
That's value that
Yeah.
you add to a room that you may not otherwise be able to add value to. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So it's like, as a young dude, like if you can get that fitness part locked in and have that appearance where people look at you and they go, oh, like, you know, he's a young dude, but like, okay, he's in good shape, he's strong, he, you know, he has confidence, and so they're like, obviously he has some kind of work ethic, because, you know,
Totally.
inconsistency, and, you know, has some type of like drive.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people, you know, especially wealthier people, they look more at like your potential versus like where you're at right there. Like they go, okay, like this can be molded this way, and this person can like have this route to success, but like,
Absolutely.
you know, if you show up and you look sloppy and lazy, and you don't, you kind of, you know, you're sitting there kind of,
Yeah.
like, you
Totally.
know, you don't have a good presence in the room. Like, people aren't gonna like be willing to take a chance on you or bet on you. So I think that like as a young dude, getting physically fit, like you can cut the line and get into those rooms so much quicker.
It's such an advantage.
It really is.
It's such an advantage, and not even in an egotistical way, like, because I feel like this conversation gets misconstrued so much. It gets taken so out of context. Like, you are only genuinely putting yourself in a position of an advantage to do whatever you want to do or be around whoever you want to be around, simply with more confidence. Like,
exactly.
And I think at the end of the day, isn't that what everybody wants to do? Like, just be more confident when they have an opportunity, when they're talking to somebody. It's like, hey, this could be really big for me. And like, hey, I'm confident in my skin. I'm confident in the way that I look. I know that I can go and deliver value to this person in the way that I think I could add value.
Exactly. And sometimes all it takes is just like someone who wouldn't have talked to you talking to you because they're curious about that. Like, you know, it's
Totally.
like, dude, there's so many tiny little interactions in life that can grow into such huge things just for such a simple thing. So it's like, for me personally, it's like I want to have as many of those things lined up so that those, you know, because you make your own opportunity, you make your own luck, I like to think.
Absolutely.
So like, if
You create your own momentum.
Exactly. So it's like, if you already have certain things going for you, you'll get the rest as you get older. You know, as like, I'm sure, as you know, like as you get older as a dude, there's kind of like that point. For me, it was like probably like 27 or 28 and on, where I was like life started to make sense now. I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I understand how the game works. I'm not like a dumb little gorilla running around just being an idiot. Like, I'm like okay, like like I understand kind of how the path works and everything like that. So
you have like intention of like what you're doing.
yeah, exactly.
Like, cutting out the bullshit and being like, no, I know what I'm like supposed to do. Like, I know this is what is the focus right now, not all the noise on the outside that I was worried about when I was 24, 25, you know, all that. Totally.
Yeah, all the noise. Yeah, there's and like, I don't know. You kind of just grow up, and you start to really see things for how they are.
Absolutely. 100%. And the other thing that I wanted your opinion on, because I've kind of like been seeing this probably over the last like 6 to 8 months, that I love seeing, that because you're in the creative world, that a lot of creatives, whether it's photographers, social influencers, artists, like, I'm noticing that a lot of people are starting to understand that they need to take their health seriously.
Yes.
I've seen so many people, like, I've seen so many DJs and artists, like, lose 50 pounds, 60 pounds. They, like, live this way now. They eat this way. They're like, oh, my God, I've never felt better. I didn't know life could feel like this. Or people are, you know, now I love seeing, like, artists and DJs post videos of them on the pull-up bar or walking on the treadmill with their girlfriend or something that they haven't done before. And, like, I'm just noticing that I feel like people are in a hole starting to prioritize their health more. And I fucking love to see that.
Dude,
like, I love to see that. Like, they just think it's so cool. Of like, yes, it's clicked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's clicked now. People are
like,
understanding, like, hey, yo, this is actually really important, just simply because quality of life.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
the quality of life that I want to live. Like, hey, if I want to tour for another 5 years, I probably can't live the same way that I'm living right now. I probably have to make a change. Like, whether that's the driving factor, or whether it's simply just hey, I need to get my shit together.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I've just been noticing it like subtly over the past like 6 to 8 months of just more and more people in the gym, you know, eating right, getting fucking their health straightened out, seeking help, like whatever, however that person wants to go through that process. I've been seeing that process, and whether I know them or not know them, I'm just like, yes,
Yeah, dude.
good for you, dude.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's like, I mean, you know, I would say that realistically, dude, it's peer pressure, and sometimes peer pressure isn't a bad thing when it's directing you towards a positive thing. And I think that, at least for me, if I was sitting there and I was kind of like having those feelings about myself, where I'm like, oh, like, you know, I want to get in better shape, or I want to do that, and then everywhere I look, I'm seeing people who are doing that, and maybe people who were just like where I was, and they're, you know, they're 5 months, 6 months in, or a year in, and they've just completely transformed. It's like, if I saw that as one of those people, I would want to get it on it. And it's like,
Totally.
the one thing I do like with the fitness industry is, and like just fitness in general, is I do think that it's really simple at the end of the day, and it's people want to make it super complicated, especially people who are marketing supplements and people who are, you know, selling a certain coach. I mean, I've sold coaching, but it's like, I'm saying, like, people want to make it seem harder than it is, so that you need someone to come in and like help you with it. Like, you can't do it on your own. But it's like, dude, all the info's out there. Like, there's so many free resources, and there's like, a lot of the times, like, even if you're not doing something totally optimized, as long as you're not like risking like injuring yourself,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
it's okay to like go in there and not like be doing the most efficient thing, but just getting the routine built and getting like
The habit.
the habit. The habit's everything.
It's the habit. Like, that's what I always. There's like always so many like older gentlemen at the gym that, you know, say hi or whatever, or ask me questions, and you know, and my biggest thing, whether they're younger or older, doesn't matter. Anyone who's in the gym, new to the gym, I'm like, hey, if you woke up today and you walked in the door, you're already ahead of majority of the population. You've already taken the first step. So now just continue to build that habit, because then it becomes addicting. It becomes like, the way I describe it is like, it's like runner's high. Like, people who love to run, where they run fucking 40 miles and like, oh, I feel so good. I'm like,
me.
yeah, hell no. But that's how it is, like, in the gym.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes that part of, yo, this is just what I do now.
Yeah.
Like, this is how I live my life now. It's just
Exactly.
part of what I do.
Yeah, and it's like, if you can stick with it, I like to say, probably like, if you can stick with it 3 to 4 months, that's like when you'll actually start to see like real physical changes. And like, at that point, once if you can get to that point where you do start to actually see the changes, I would say like probably like 95% of people are going to be locked in then, because you're going to go, okay, like, it actually does work. It takes a little bit of, it's not, you know, if it was super quick and easy, everyone would be walking around with shredded abs all the time. It would, but like, that's not the case. But it's like, if you can stick with it 3 to 4 months and make that like part of your lifestyle, it's like, you are gonna by default look better than 95% of the people, because most people, unfortunately, are gonna eat like shit. They're gonna, you know, they're gonna live unhealthy lives,
For sure.
and it's like, by having that as part of your baseline, you know, it's like, you can get away with a few more things, you know, like, you can, if you want to have a fun vacation, like, whatever, you can go drink. Like, for me, like, whatever, if I want to drink some of this whiskey, I'm not going to feel bad about it, because like, I know that like over years I put in enough work where it's not going to make a difference.
Totally.
And I can have fun. If I drink whiskey every single day and I don't work out,
It's a different outcome.
things are going to go downhill real quick.
Yeah. It's moderation.
Yeah.
That's always been my thing, is moderation. Like, it's all in moderation. Like, and it does help, especially when you're physically fit, that you can indulge maybe a little bit more in some things that people overindulge in, you know what I mean? But it's just moderation, knowing that, hey, if I'm going to eat this or I'm going to drink this, I know that tomorrow in the gym is going to suck. Yeah. And I'm going to fucking work my ass off to burn that off. You know what I mean? And I think, at least that's how I look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, it's like if I do this, I chose to do this. Now I know tomorrow, I know what the outcome is, and I know it's time to get to work. And that's just this is how I look at it.
Dude, 100%. I mean, obviously, like, when you do, if you are able to stick with it and really like kind of push it to that like upper echelon, then like, obviously a lot of opportunities will be opened up just because of that. I mean, like, I wouldn't have the opportunities that I have if like, you know, I didn't put in the work in the gym and have like that kind of like that physique where people are like, oh shit, like that's not like that's a you know not like
the standard.
But they're like, oh, like that's like very above average, blah blah blah, and then like it, you know, because you can realistically, it's like you can just monetize that, like if you
you could
exactly, and like that's another avenue that people can take too,
totally,
if that's the route you want to go. But like I just want to have the most opportunities available. I don't want to have like I don't want to be like restricted on like what I can do because of like things that I have full control over.
I love that. I stand on that very heavily. Very heavily.
Yeah, I mean, I yeah, like I always want to make sure that I'm keeping as many doors open as possible.
Absolutely. I love that. So now that we've kind of talked about the fitness shit for a long time, which I love because I talk about fitness all fucking day long.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the other, you kind of touched on a little bit in the car, was you do like modeling stuff or you manage.
Or we can, yeah, we'll let's get into that. Yeah. So
yeah, like what do you do on that side of the spectrum? Just because I'm also like super curious on like how that shit fucking works.
I'm an open book. Totally good to dive into it. Yeah. So like I do OnlyFans. I do.
Do you do it personally or do you manage?
No, I do it personally.
Okay.
I did manage in the past, but not my cup of tea. I'm definitely more because managing is a lot more on like the marketing end of things.
Totally.
A lot of like that whole thing, which I do have a marketing background, but marketing in that and like you know the OnlyFans field is a whole different can of worms that like it just simply is like not my jam, not what I want to do.
Yeah, I feel like that's just like so. I feel like it could be so like political and just.
It's tough.
You're messy.
You're doing a lot of like kind of black hat methods. You're doing a lot of like trying to like kind of you know squeeze your way through the algorithm kind of thing, stuff like that. It's just like I just personally don't have interest in it. But from the creator side, like it is something that I do. And that's
Sick.
like I would say that's probably like my main main source of income right now.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So, and it's still pretty recent. I've been active and live for probably about 6 weeks ish, you know.
Oh, so it's relatively new for you.
Yeah, relatively new. Again, because basically I was at a point where, you know, I was getting tons of questions about it in my messages all the time, you know, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, why not? Like if there's all this money sitting here and whatever, like I don't mind the attention. It's totally fine.
Yeah, like, totally.
And just having the opportunity to go like travel around and like link with like super cool creators, other people like that, and like you know, it's not the worst job in the world by any stretch of the imagination.
Totally,
it's, you know, it's really it's a good time, and at the end of the day, you're only here once. Like I'm trying to set up a future for my future family.
Yeah,
like I want to make sure I'm financially off, and it's like if there's an opportunity where, you know. I can jump that up and start throwing that in other investments and things like that. Like
absolutely,
I'm gonna do it because like personally, it doesn't bother me. I don't care. You know, people are always like, oh, like what if your stuff gets leaked on the internet? And I'm like, I don't really care. Like what's someone gonna say? Like oh, like you made a video with some hot model. Like it's like what? Like,
yeah, thanks.
like oh, like so sad. Well, like, let me wipe the tears with these.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
Oh, what a bummer. What a bummer.
Yeah. Then. Personally, like I haven't really received like any like negative backlash just in any sense. Like no one's really like that offended by any of it. Like,
yeah,
you know, dudes all think it's cool as shit. Like they're like, what? Like you know,
yeah.
Again, kind of like you, like you know, they're
was
very
like,
curious about it.
Sick.
Like,
yeah, I don't judge or literally give a shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, if that's what you're about, fucking sick. I want to know about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm also like super curious because I know the whole OnlyFans just part of society now is very controversial. Like, I'm sure you know who Joey Swole is.
Yeah.
So like, I'm curious on what your opinion is on like. Is there a certain way that OnlyFans should be conducted? And do you think like all the people who are out in public like shaking ass in front of a coffee shop or you know whipping out their ass cheeks in front of a gym. You know what I mean? Like, do you understand where they're coming from as creators, or do you think like, hey, just go get a house in Joshua Tree or go get somewhere and do that not in front of people who are trying to enjoy a latte? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, what your opinion is as also an OnlyFans creator, because I've always been like, well, is there? Because I've always seen some videos. I'm like, well, is this fucking? Can I flame someone for this, or is it not flammable? Like, I don't know how that kind of dichotomy works in that world. Like, is there a line?
I'm
Is there?
gonna take a drink for this one.
Yeah, go for it. I have to ask. I have to, because I'm just so curious. Like, because I'm not in that world, and it's so popular, and it's so lucrative. So I'm just like, is there a code of conduct? I guess I should say.
Is there a code of conduct? Absolutely not.
Okay.
As far as like in the world itself, I mean, I think that there are like definitely things that people do that are controversial, and like I would say the main one would probably be like how the dating apps are kind of abused now, because like, I mean, but I see both sides, because like, you know, people, you know, I don't know, people are gonna get mad at me for sharing secrets, but I don't give a shit. Like, fuck y'all. Like people will make like they'll kind of like spoof pictures and stuff, because the dating apps are always very like they're very like on top of like trying to make sure that this doesn't happen, but people will figure out ways to, you know, make 100 dating app like profiles of a girl, and they'll use that to kind of funnel people into like a Snapchat, and then they'll funnel them to the OF from there, with kind of like, you know, misleading them with the hopes that like they'll be able to like collaborate with that person, which obviously they're not going to collaborate with some random dude off of a dating app.
Totally.
Like, when he has no social following, he's not an established creator, because there's obviously safety concerns.
Absolutely. So there is like a social status to it, though. Like, if I'm an OnlyFans creator and I want to collaborate with another OnlyFans creator, there has to be a certain like almost like a business transaction in the way, like, hey, is it worth it for me to collab with you on this to where it's going to benefit my brand and benefit your brand?
Yeah, 100%. I would say it's kind of similar to like really any kind of social media collaboration like that, where it's like,
or like a song per se. Like, a big artist isn't going to collab with someone who's like not at least like decently, you know, notable.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that that's kind of like the general rule of thumb with that, just because like, you know, especially for like most of these like large like female creators, it's like there's a line of dudes who will go film content with them. Like they're not, that's not like, there's no shortage of that for them. So it's like, as a straight male creator, it's like you need to have like, first of all, just for like safety, kind of like an established like reputation, to where it's like, okay, like he's chill, he's cool to film with, like he's not like a creep or nothing.
Yeah,
all of that. And then there's also just like the, you know, kind of like, how, like, are we gonna both mutually benefit from this like setup?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like a lot of creators, it's like they just create with like their you know, their partners and stuff like that.
Totally.
But for people who are single, I'd say generally it's like kind of like, hey, like, do our brands align? Is there, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's like brand alignment, like as far as like following and stuff. Like, are we both gonna be able to kind of grow from this and like do well, like stuff like that. But sorry to kind of go back around to like what you're saying with like the kind of ethics and like stuff like shaking ass.
Yeah.
Again, I think that like it's hard to say, because it's like it's so effective and it works so well that like I can't knock someone for doing that. Do I think it's necessarily appropriate? No.
Yes.
Do I see the moral quandary of like all of it? 100%. Like, it's just, you know, like, dude, like, shit's expensive, dude. We're not in a good economy. I like to say that, like, you know, people like in our generation, like, we're playing like hardcore mode, no respawns, like that, like, you know, limited money, limited everything. Like,
totally.
So it's like, you know, right now it's like you kind of just have to get it how you live. Like, you can't like,
which I do understand that aspect. I really do. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Get your bag, however it is that, you know, you need to get your bag. I ain't gonna judge you.
Yeah, like, yeah. It's like, as long as, you know, you're not like, you know, you're not like doing crime. You're not stealing from people.
Yeah.
You're not, you know, robbing grandma at gunpoint. Like like shit like that. You know, like, you know, everyone's a willing participant. You know, the people who are paying for that content on OnlyFans, like, they know what they're doing. No one's forcing them to do that. And like, at the end of the day, like, I would say, dude, if you like, I also like with the flame thing. I'm like, dude, I think you're more than welcome to flame them, and obviously they want you to flame them because
that's more, it's more eyes, more attention,
it's more engagement. I mean,
yeah,
if you look at kind of like what the best social media strategies,
any
right
attention
now,
is good attention.
Exactly, any attention is good attention. If you look at like, I can't think of any of the creators on the top of my head, but like there's girls who are big OF creators that, dude, their whole social media strategy is just rage baiting. Like all they're trying to do is
get clicks.
Is to get people to yell at them on their posts, blah blah blah, and then it goes viral as shit. The people who are looking for that find it still, and they don't care, and they're gonna go pay whatever that creator money
for sure.
And it's just more virality. So.
I was gonna say, I also feel like there has to be like a conversion rate on that marketing strategy where it's like, yo, my marketing strategy for my OF is rage bait, but if it gets 5 million views and 300,000 likes and 5,000 comments, out of those 5,000 comments, people who are physically engaging with the post, there has to be, I feel like, even if majority is like, this is retarded, get off, whatever it is, like, I feel like there has to be a conversion where it's like some of those people who hate end up subscribing. Dude, who, you know what I mean? I feel like that there has to be a conversion rate on that, which I'd be curious to know what that is, because it's like, it's kind of smart.
Yeah, no,
it's kind of smart.
It's so smart, dude. There's this one girl, and like, she just says like super like politically like upsetting things about like Trump and stuff, and dude, it's like, I've looked at like I've never subscribed to her OF, but I'll look at like her profile banner, and you can kind of like see based off of like how many likes are on like the top little bar when you click on their profile, about like kind of a general idea about how big their account is.
Gotcha.
Obviously it's not everything, but it's a good metric. And like, dude, this girl's probably easily making hundreds and hundreds of thousands a month, like low end, because obviously you can't see how much like they're selling pay-per-views and stuff for, which is like probably the biggest like revenue grabber.
So is a pay-per-view like they're doing basically like a full porno, and someone pays for that?
It could be anything, but it's basically like when they're messaging, it would be something that they would sell them in messages.
Okay, so like exclusive content.
Yeah,
like hey, you subscribe to my OnlyFans, that's $30 a month, and then that allows you to chat with me, and then if you want personalized content, it's 5,000 or whatever, like something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, as far as like what each video, like I think the cap right now is like 200 or maybe 100 now. Like they've kind of like lowered what you can do. But yeah, so basically there's like kind of like the sexting kind of strategy. Gotcha. It's like
like the Vegas like hotlines where you call a girl in your hotel room to fucking talk dirty to you on the phone, kind of something like that.
Dude, yeah, basically. And then like let's just say like it'll be like 10 videos like of a girl, and it's kind of like escalating as the video goes on.
Gotcha.
And then each video is costing more and more and more and more. And then there's like kind of a script that goes with it.
Gotcha.
And then
so like you're enticing the person who's like doing that to buy the next video to see what happens, to get to the end, and at the end you're making, I don't even know, but a lot.
Yeah, and I mean there's a lot of like softwares and stuff too where you can kind of do like a personalized pricing on that specific person's spending habits.
Gotcha.
So like there's people who spend way more, and you can sell that through that series to them for way more, but like they're basically maximizing it by everyone kind of like having like their own little like budget line.
Gotcha.
But I would say, dude, like on a high spender, like one of those scripts, they easily make like 1 or 2,000 off of like one thing, like easily. And then like from there, and then if they have like, let's just say they have 5,000 subscribers, and they go through that script with like, let's just say 100 people go through, it's like $200,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's literally $200,000.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like a low end estimate, especially with some of these larger like creators. But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, there's a lot of money there, and so like I can understand why a girl's like, I don't give a fuck if I shake my ass in front of this coffee shop.
Yeah, right.
Like it's like
you're not paying my bills.
Yeah, and it's like I'm gonna go get in my Lambo and my Urus and get out of here.
Yeah,
so, like, whatever. Like
totally.
So. That's it's like Is it ethical? No, but do I understand it completely? Yes.
Totally, yeah, and that's kind of like what I was just like super curious about, and just like all of it, because I just think it's fascinating. You know what I mean?
Dude,
like
it
I think
really
it's
is.
very, very fascinating, just from like a socioeconomic standpoint. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's honestly mind blowing. Like even with like my stuff, just like how much people are willing to pay for like stuff like that. But it's it's like the market sets the prices, and it's like
For sure.
people are willing to pay whatever hundreds of dollars for like a video of my feet, for example. Like it's like,
That's crazy.
dude, it is literally mind blowing. But like that's what
You're
it is.
telling me you've sold a video of your feet for $100?
Yes.
I'm in the wrong fucking industry.
No nudity, nothing. Like just yeah, and
That's
it's like
crazy.
maybe like probably. So I'd say probably it's like $100 a minute for like something like that.
And then how long is the video? Like 5 minutes?
No, I'm saying like no, it's like let's just say like it'd be like a 1 minute video of like my feet, and this is like obviously fully clothed, everything like that, and that's $100.
That is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like,
Holy shit.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, like if I worked at like McDonald's, bro, that's like a full day's work right there. And I
Oh
like
my God.
I sat there and I went like whatever, or I put my phone up and I did at the bottom of the feet, bro.
That's
I'm like,
crazy.
it's literally insane. And so I'm like, I can't. Like I like money too much, dude. And I'm like,
Yeah,
and
well,
I don't. It doesn't bother me. I don't care.
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
whatever.
it's just my feet.
Yeah, dude. I mean, really with anything else too, but I'm like, it doesn't bother me. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Which honestly, to be honest, I'm gonna fucking. That's mad respect. That's a whole nother level of like self confidence. That you're like, yo, I literally don't give a fuck. This is what you want. You pay. Sure, here you go.
yeah, dude.
I don't care like what you think or what if it gets leaked or I don't really care. Like that's
I don't like.
that's a level of like I literally don't give a fuck, which is kind of sick to me.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just
Like I respect it. I do. I respect it.
Yeah, dude, I mean, I feel like everyone, whatever, we were brought onto this earth naked, like whatever. It's like I'm not like ashamed of like my body, anything like that, and like if people want to pay that kind of money like to see it, like I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like because at the end of the day, it's like if I can have like multiple like real estate investments and stuff like off of like some of that stuff,
Yeah.
and like I can set like my family and everyone else up like for the future, like I'll make it's like I already jumped out of planes with a machine gun and shit like that. I'm like,
Why not do this?
Yeah, I'm like, this is way safer, and it's like
I'm getting paid way more.
less risky, way more money, and it's like, oh no, I have to go travel to Florida and like hang out like with a bunch of like hot models at a house and like film shit or to, like do because and a lot of it is like more like model-esque photo shoots. Like it's
Gotcha.
not it's not like you just jump in and it's like some fucking orgy happening.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of it because obviously social media is the biggest driver
For sure.
for all of that. So it's like you just have to have like really quality social media content, like short forms, all of that stuff. So that's kind of like I'd say the main value is like having like a variety of people to do like photo shoots with different places,
Gotcha.
being able to make TikToks and reels and all of that.
Uh-huh.
And that's like the main advantage. But obviously, like if you do like collaborations like that are more like OF focused, like that helps too. But that's I would say the main thing, the main driver would just be like having good like social media content, because that like by having that people are more curious, and
For sure.
especially Instagram, it's like I would say that's probably like the closest connection people have to you as far as like on the social platforms.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's where they really know you the most. So it's like if you can get people there and get people curious about like what's happening, like they're gonna go look.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious. Do you have like a metric of people who come to your page and then click on your link?
I'd have to pull the specific metric, but
I would just be curious to
Yeah.
to like in a month, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
If you're getting 150,000 profile views a month
Mhm.
and you're an OF creator, like how many of those people click on your link even if they're not already previously subscribed to OnlyFans, like out of just pure curiosity, and then how many people convert and be like, I'm gonna subscribe. I would just be so fascinated to know that number,
dude. So I have a lot of subscribers because my OF is like, it's a free one, and it like my main profile feed is clean. I don't have you know, because it's free. Like if you want to, if you're interested in like getting, kind of getting in there, whatever, it's free. You're not going to see a bunch of nudity because it doesn't make any sense for me to like have that kind of stuff for free. But like, if you want to message me on there and then, stuff like that, then that's kind of like where that happens too, because I also want to make sure that like my profile is like friendly for brands and things like that as well.
Which is smart.
Exactly. So I would say my conversion as far as like people who are actually spending to subscribing, that's a little bit like, I would say that's lower, but a lot of, with the OF platform, it's like a majority of your income is going to come from a small group of people who spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then you kind of
like your fan base in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's the people who are going to spend a bunch of money on there.
Totally.
But it's
it might be 50 people who are spending $200 a month or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Like you might have 300 subscribers, but only 50 people are like actually all the time like engaging, spending money, asking for extra content or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so because there's a lot of people who are just gonna like look because they're curious or whatever, things like that, or they're just kind of want to just lurk. But but the actual people who are like big spenders is pretty small. I would say probably like maybe like 5% of your base.
Oh wow, okay.
Like it's probably like it's probably around like 5 to 10% is responsible for like 90% of your revenue.
Dude, honestly, which is pretty high when you think about like social media, like only usually about like 2% of like your total followers like actually see your shit.
Yeah.
So you got to think like an extra 4 to 6% that's significant. You know what I mean? That's pretty significant as far as like people who are actually engaging or buying a product. Like that's a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. And like you can kind of see the metrics too. Like if I post like a TikTok or like a reel or something with like another like a female creator, it's like I can see like if I post that and then I look at like the analytics, I can see like a big jump in like people that go subscribe because they're like that sparks their curiosity
for sure,
stuff like that. So I would say like it's kind of like as content is coming out, especially if it does well, that's like where you start seeing the biggest jumps.
Gotcha.
There's obviously also like different revenues of like, or different avenues of like pulling fans in. But I would say that like social media, especially like Instagram, is like where you're going to get like your strongest fans.
Sick. Hell yeah. I was so curious on that whole topic.
Yeah. I hope that kind of like
curious. Oh no, it really did. I was like, yo, I've always been curious how this works.
Yeah, all the management companies are about to fucking be like, what the fuck, dude? Why are you revealing
why you fucking airing us out right now?
Yeah, and it's like all right. At this point, like I feel like everyone knows what it is, and if not, like you should know. But like, yeah, that's kind of how the game works.
Sick.
That's in a nutshell.
Hell yeah, dope.
Yeah, but it's a fun time, dude. Like I've been enjoying the journey so far, and it's like I'm looking forward to like kind of seeing how that growth goes. Like they're starting to get like some like some collabs set up with like some bigger creators and like some really cool stuff happening. So I'm really looking forward to kind of where this journey goes, and it's gonna be it's like rest of this year and on the next year is gonna be a sick ride. Like everything's jumping up, everything's getting better. So
hell yeah. Well, dude, that literally like segues perfectly into like the last two questions of the fucking show.
Yeah, dude.
That's perfect. As I was literally gonna say before I asked the final question, is the question before that is like, what's like next for you? Like what is like your next kind of plans? Like what do you want to do? Like people who follow you on social, people who might come follow you from social from this, like what's kind of some upcoming things?
Dude, so right now, dude, I'm all in on social media. I just finished school like, a month ago. So y'all,
a lot of content.
I'm either gonna make it on this, doing this, or y'all are gonna see me doing some live streams from like under a bridge as a homeless person. But like it's all or nothing. Like
love it.
Like
no plan B.
Yeah, no plan B, dude. I don't. Plan B is just setting myself up and planning for failure.
Love that.
I'm at the end of the day, I'm just gonna keep pumping out content, always making it better, and trying to bring more people along for the journey.
For sure.
That's really it, dude. Like, get rich or die trying.
Shout out 50 Cent for
Hey,
real.
Just like 50, bro.
Just like 50. Man, I love that. That's a good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good mindset on that. Just
Yeah.
keep putting it out. It's just gonna get better every time. No
Exactly.
plan B.
Exactly,
Because
dude.
I resonate to that.
Yeah,
very
100%,
heavily.
100%,
Very
dude.
heavily. Love that. Well, the fucking final question. Everybody that comes on the show gets asked this, so don't feel left out.
All right.
It is 7-on-7's one life advice question.
Okay.
If you had to give one piece of life advice to someone you know, someone who follows you, a stranger who was like, Dylan, I need something. I'm struggling right now. I need a piece of advice to help me right now. What would that be?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
If you got to think about it,
yeah.
It can be one answer, two answers. It could be whatever you want.
I'm gonna take one water sip, and then I'm gonna give you guys some sauce here. All right. So first thing that comes to mind for sure is we've kind of already touched on it, but like focus on like building yourself into like, dude, it sounds so cliche, but build yourself into like your fucking hero, your favorites, whatever, your superhero, your idol. Figure out like where you want to be. If there's a certain, I just like a certain person as an example, like figure out what you need to do in your life to emulate the aura or the energy or the presence that person brings, and just work on doing that every single day. And as you go along that journey, you'll kind of figure out where you are and where you want to be. But like, it's always good to have a role model. It's always good to seek mentorship. I love to be the least knowledgeable, dumbest person in a room, and being able to just soak in like experience and knowledge, and hopefully learn from other people's mistakes so that I don't have to make them myself. Mm-hmm. But dude, it's really at the end of the day, like being able to have a path towards where you want to be. Have people, find people who are like-minded or people that are where you want to be. Figure out how to emulate the positives and the good attributes that you want for yourself, and make that your mission, because otherwise you're going to be flip-flopping. You're going to be on all these different paths. Start really just dialing in on that person, that goal person, whether it be who you specifically want to be, or if there's someone you want to kind of emulate along that journey. But just, and be open. Like, if you're in a room and you're the dumbest person, which you should be if you're in the right rooms, don't be trying to talk to everyone about what you're doing. Listen to what the fuck they're doing. They don't give a shit. They've already been there, done that. But like, soak the information and be a sponge, and be a student, be a scholar. Like, really be willing to listen and learn versus talking. That's really the biggest thing, because I see so many people that get these opportunities to be in these rooms, and they want to talk about this business that they just started and all this stuff, and it's like, dude, this guy has 5 businesses that do millions and millions a year. Like, he doesn't care about your social media marketing agency that you just started. Like, don't even fucking talk about that. Learn what the fuck he's doing. Learn from these people, and obviously, if you're asked a question, like for me, if they're asking me fitness stuff, obviously I'm going to get into that because that's my field. But like, listen more than you talk.
Yeah.
And try to always position yourself in these rooms with people who you can learn from and get better to.
100%. Almost like the don't speak until you're spoken to, in a way. Yeah.
I mean, don't be weird. Like,
yeah, don't be sitting in the corner like, ah.
Yeah, like don't just be like silent in the corner. But like, I just see so many people that kind of like are trying to impress people like this, where it's like, don't try to impress people. Just try to, they'll be more impressed when you ask really good questions and you are, you try to gain insight on situations. Like, people will see that and be like, okay, like this person's dialed in, versus like if you're just talking about shit that's like kindergarten to like a PhD, like they're not gonna resonate well with it.
Totally. I love that. I resonate with that very, very heavily.
Hey, I'm glad.
I really do, because I really do believe the same exact thing very, very heavily. Well, dude, this was fucking great.
Yeah, bro.
This was great.
This was awesome.
I'm fucking hope you had a fucking good time. I appreciate you coming out, fucking driving out this way. When do you head back to Denver?
As of now, Sunday.
Okay.
I'm working on getting some more collaborations and stuff done while I'm out here.
Sweet.
You know, content creators are not the best with scheduling and being on time for things, you know. So, granted that everything lines up, then I may extend my trip a little bit more, but as of now, I'm going to bounce out Sunday.
Sweet. Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Well, dude, I wish you safe travels, safe flights. I hope we stay in touch.
Oh,
this
100%,
was
dude.
100%. This was awesome, fucking amazing. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. Episode 38 is now in the books. We will be back next week. Dylan, my man, I appreciate you so much.
Hey, I appreciate it, dude. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Peace.